Huh? That's... My husband and I were spending the night at a fancy spa hotel to celebrate our wedding anniversary. At the hotel's pool, I saw a woman who looked exactly like my older brother's wife. I considered calling out to her, but I wasn't 100% sure it was her. I felt a bit awkward, so I left the pool without saying anything. I changed and went out into the lobby. The same woman as before was in front of me. They really looked the same. Just as I was about to try to call out to her, "Oh, Anne, thanks for waiting." The woman spoke in a sweet voice to a man that I didn't recognize. The two walked out of the lobby hand in hand. I must have made a mistake after all. I'm glad I didn't say anything. I felt relieved. But when I went back to my room, my husband made a shocking announcement. It really was my brother's wife. We immediately called the police. The reason why is... My name is Elisa. I'm 32 years old. 1 year ago, I married my husband, Billy. He's 2 years younger than me and was my junior at my previous job. One day, we'll have kids. But for now, we're enjoying traveling, joining sports competitions, and doing our hobbies. We're happy. So to think that could have happened... I have 2 older brothers. Henry is the oldest. He's 4 years older than me. The middle sibling is James. He's only 1 year older than me. Henry got married, so the whole family gathered together for the first time in a while. But, to be honest, I wasn't in the mood. The reason being that I don't really like Henry. I say that we're siblings, but Henry isn't actually related to us by blood. James and I's parents divorced when I was 3 years old, and our mom remarried 5 years later. Henry joined our family when our mom married his dad. Just to make things clear, that's not why I'm not a fan of Henry. James and I were still young when Henry joined our family. If anything, we were really happy to have a cool older brother. At first, Henry was very kind, and we played together often. We had a really good sibling relationship. But that all changed when Henry began high school. James and I also began middle school, and the 3 of us naturally stopped playing together as often. We were in after-school clubs, and were busy with our own friends. I didn't think too much of it. But at the time, Henry started hanging out with some bad people. Though he was still in high school, he would smoke cigarettes in his room and go out at night and get arrested. My mom and stepdad would get calls from the police almost daily. Henry was even once caught sleeping drunkenly on the street by one of his teachers and was suspended from school. Though he caused many problems, that wasn't what made me hate him. I believe that he was going through a rebellious period and would return to the kind person he used to be. It was the summer after my 3rd year of middle school.
"Elisa, I'll give you $75, so will you do me a favor?"
Henry offered me that deal and I went along with it. I had gone out with my friends so much that summer that I didn't have any money left. I was willing to help him out if it meant I'd get some money in exchange. But I was an idiot for not asking him exactly what he wanted me to do. Henry took me to the house of one of his upperclassmen. In the house where a few boys were drinking alcohol, most of them were already drunk. The room stank of cigarettes, and empty beer cans were scattered all over the floor. I was 15 at the time, so just entering the room made me really scared. But since Henry was with me, I assumed nothing bad would happen. They gave me something to drink and made me believe it was juice when it was actually alcohol. It was my first time drinking, so I got drunk immediately. Suddenly, I realized Henry was gone. His friends began touching me all over. Luckily, they weren't violent, but I was so scared. I lied that I felt sick and needed to go to the toilet, and I used that opportunity to escape. I got home in tears. When Henry saw me, he was surprised.
"Oh, that was quick,"
was what he said. When I heard that, I was certain he had tried to sell my body to those people. Maybe they had threatened him with something, or maybe they had given him money. I didn't know for sure. But the truth was that he tried to use me. Even though he had changed, I believed I could trust him. The fact that he betrayed me was what hurt me the most. Henry seemed to realize he could get in trouble, so he said,
"Oh, sorry. I wasn't feeling good, so I left early. Did something happen?"
He was coming up with excuses to avoid taking responsibility. "I don't care. I hate you," I said, and ran out of the room. I thought to myself countless times that I should talk to my mom or James about this. But if our family found out, who knew what Henry would do next? Thinking that, I didn't tell anyone. Even to this day, I still haven't told anyone. But trying to be nice was a huge mistake. If I had mustered up the courage then and told people about it, Henry might not have turned out how he is now. At least that's what I think to myself every once in a while. I was going to be meeting Henry for the first time in over 5 years. He never came to our family's house for the holidays, nor did he attend my wedding. No one in our family knew where he was or what he was doing. So the fact that his wife invited us all over was a big shock. "It's nice to meet you all. My name is Emery." The girl who brightly introduced herself to us was much younger than I expected. She was 26 years old, even younger than James and I. Of course, love and marriage don't have anything to do with age. But the truth is, I was surprised. She had a bright and friendly personality, so I thought we could become close. Emery's parents lived far away, so they couldn't come to meet us that day. James and I, our parents, and Henry and his wife all had lunch together. After our parents went home that evening, us 3 siblings and Emery went out drinking. It had been so long since the last time I went out with both of my brothers, so my heart felt warm. James and Emery both really liked movies, so they had a lot to talk about. My new sister-in-law was very friendly. Seeing that, I thought it was time to let go of the past. Many things have happened, but we're all adults now.
"Thank you for spending time with us today."
Henry thanked us. I had really unpleasant memories with him, but he's probably changed. My kind older brother is finally back. I felt happy. If things continue like this, us siblings can probably start getting along again. Of course, I didn't forgive him for what he's done, but we still were siblings. But I was being naive. It was my husband and I's first wedding anniversary, so we decided to spend the night at a spa hotel. We liked traveling, but to save money, we usually stayed in cheap hotels. This time, for our anniversary, we decided to splurge a bit and get a reservation somewhere nicer than usual. The hotel interior was fancy and our room was huge. We had room service and our dinner was super delicious. It was expensive, but we were glad we came. We had a very fun time. We decided to go to the hotel spa's pool. After swimming around a bit, my husband was tired out and went to rest. I stayed at the pool a bit longer. Huh? I saw a woman that looked just like Emery. I considered calling out to her, but since I had only met her once before, I wasn't 100% confident that it was her. I felt a bit awkward, so I left the pool without saying anything. I changed and went out into the lobby. The same woman as before was in front of me. Could it really be Emery? Just as I was about to try to call out to her, "Oh, and thanks for waiting." The woman spoke in a sweet voice to a man I didn't recognize.
Don't worry, I was looking at the souvenirs.
The two walked out of the lobby hand in hand. I must have made a mistake after all. I'm glad I didn't say anything. I felt relieved. Emery wouldn't come to a spa hotel and hold hands with a man other than Henry. Calling out to someone I didn't know would have been super awkward, so I'm glad I didn't say anything. I went back to my room and brought it up to my husband.
If you yelled out to her, it would have been so awkward,
he said with a laugh.
But, thinking about it, I saw a guy who looked just like Henry.
When I first heard that, I said, "What the? We both saw people that looked like them? That's so funny." How strange. I got a weird feeling. Somehow, I couldn't let it go. "Where did you see him?" I asked Billy.
I first saw him at the souvenir shop. The second time was when I was entering our room. That guy is in the room next door.
I wondered what could be going on. Without thinking, I began trying to listen into the room next door. It was a beautiful and high-end hotel, but the building itself was pretty old. The walls were quite thin, so if you listened closely, you could hear what was going on in the neighboring rooms. Since it was summer, we all had our windows open as well, so you could hear more or less everything said next door.
How did it go? Did he notice?
That was definitely my brother's voice.
"Yeah. When he went to buy a drink from the vending machine, he noticed his wallet was gone and began panicking. He went to look for it in the spa's changing room and was pretty upset when he couldn't find it."
The voice that replied with a laugh was definitely Emery.
Bringing a woman to such a nice hotel and then losing your wallet can't be easy. Well, the wallet is with us now, though. How fun!
Hearing what Henry said, I was at a loss for words.
It's great that we stole it and all, but there's only $400 in cash inside. Such a young and broke kid. It's a shame.
I didn't want to believe it, but hearing what Henry said so clearly, I had no choice but to accept the truth.
"Hey, don't say that. I did my best."
Henry and Emery had worked together to steal that man's wallet. When Billy saw Henry earlier, he had probably just stolen that man's wallet. The two of them then continued to say unbelievable things. What I understood from listening to everything they said is that they didn't marry each other out of love. They were just a couple on the surface. They got married just so that they could commit crimes like this together. It was such a shock, but I was really at a loss for words. But
the next target is your brother, right? He's a tough nut to crack. I tried hitting on him and getting him to spend the night with me, but he said he can't betray his wife and never came. Our plan to make him have an affair with me in order to sue him probably won't work, huh?
Hearing what she said, my body began shaking uncontrollably. When I was 15 years old, Henry betrayed me. Now he wants to go after James. What a backstabber.
Yeah, seems so. If we do anything too drastic, my dad and mom might get suspicious, which puts my inheritance at risk. I got in contact with those geezers again for the sake of my inheritance. I wish they'd just die already, but I don't want James to get a bigger inheritance than me. Maybe let's give up on that plan.
Hearing that, there was no way I could forgive him. When I was 15, I stayed silent because of some misplaced kindness. That's probably why he's still continuing to do horrible things now. I was sure of it. This was probably happening to me to teach me once and for all that I can't change Henry. Not that I was spiritual or religious or anything, but I felt like this was a lesson I was destined to learn. I immediately called the police. I can't forgive Henry after he keeps betraying my family. I want Henry to change himself. I want him to go back to being the kind older brother he used to be. I prayed for that. Shortly after, the police visited Henry's room.
Hey, what's this about?
I heard him say in a confused voice. The officers explained the situation.
You're making some sort of mistake. Do you have proof?
He argued with the police. I don't want to see him struggling in front of the police like this. But this wasn't the time for me to back down. I decisively stood up and went to Henry's room. Seeing me, Henry looked genuinely shocked.
Why are you here?
I didn't reply to his question. I have all the evidence here. I recorded your conversation, I said and handed my phone to the police. The police officers listened to the recording and found the victim's wallet. They began escorting Henry out of the room, saying that he needs to go to the police station with them. Henry glared at me.
You're really going to sell out your own brother?
I finally said something that's been on my mind for a long time. Selling you out? Give me a break. You're the one who sold me out first, right? Next, you're going to betray James and then Mom and Dad. I can't forgive you. Henry couldn't seem to find what to say back to me, and he stayed silent for a while. And then he said,
You guys never needed me anyway. Her parents are different, so you never considered me part of the family. I've always just been a bother.
He mumbled. He began crying uncontrollably. He always acted tough, but he probably has been feeling this the whole time. There was no way I could forgive what he's done. He probably wouldn't be able to forgive me easily either. We're family. I never once thought that you weren't part of our family. That's why I want the kind older brother I used to know back. Get your punishment and then take a step forward in the right direction. Henry was silent after that. I never found out if my words really reached him. I did all that I could. A few years passed. Henry and Emery were tried in court and found to be habitual offenders of theft and marriage fraud. The two had gotten married for the sake of committing crimes, so they divorced as soon as they were released from prison. After his release, Henry came to visit our family's house.
I'm really sorry.
He got on his hands and knees and apologized to us all. I had many things on my mind when I saw that. We were very conflicted, but we decided to forgive Henry. He had been judged by the law and had fulfilled his punishment. We decided there was no need for us to judge him anymore. Of course, we didn't forget what he had done, but we wanted to support him to live a new and honest life. At the very least, that's what we think for now. Thank you for watching.